This is Daron, K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Learning Net starts in 5 minutes.
W0TX repeater.
Good evening, everyone here on YouTube. Always appreciate check-ins, comments, questions via our YouTube chat. Don't hesitate to jump in if you ever have anything. We'll begin a 5-minute introduction here with a Hackaday podcast. So hopefully this is of some interest to you all here.
Sorry, that's what they call the clickbait.
Sometimes it's what you don't say. Hello and welcome to the Hackaday podcast. I'm Elliot Williams.
And I'm Tom Nardi.
This is episode 221. This week we'll be talking about the future of the Raspberry Pi, sniffing a toothbrush, and your tactical tool threshold. This week in Hackaday news, we've got a reminder that next Tuesday, the 6th, is the end of the op-amp challenge. So if you've got an op-amp project, this is your final weekend. But much more to the point, this is the beginning of the Green Hacks round of the Hackaday Prize. So if you've got any sort of ecologically planet-friendly, green hacks, get them in. This round just started on Tuesday. It runs until the 4th of July. So you've got a while to get it in, but this is the Hackaday Prize. So you want this project to count. So get moving on that. Head on over to Hackaday.io, start up a new project, and enter it into the Hackaday Prize.
If you hear fireworks, you've waited too long.
That's right.
The indicator. If you're wondering what that noise is outside, you may have messed up. Now, this is going to be really cool. I think we usually do some kind of a green challenge, right? I think it's important. Hack something together. Something that's going to help the Earth is not a bad way to spend your time. So I'm definitely interested to see what people come up with for this challenge. I mean, all the challenges have been amazing so far.
Yeah, I said this in my write-up introducing the green hacks round, but this is the 10th Hackaday Prize, and so we're kind of like cherry-picking our favorite topics from the last few years. And actually last year, I guess we did all green hacks, and that was interesting because running the whole contest around that one theme meant that we could do special focus on energy savings or production, special focus on recycling, special focus on keeping stuff out of the landfill by fixing up old gear and repurposing it, et cetera, et cetera. So that was kind of cool to be able to, spotlight all of these kind of individual ways. But this year, it's only one of 5 challenge rounds. So we're going to lump all of the green hacks into one. So go nuts. But the nice thing about that, of course, is it means there's kind of an exceptionally wide scope to enter into this round. So anything that saves energy, uses energy well, generates clean energy, recycles things, cleans up the environment, environmental monitoring, et cetera, et cetera. There's just so many different ways you can go with this one.
And I think of all the challenges, this probably has the largest scale too, right? I mean, like you said, power generation is fair play, so that brings in wind generators and physically massive things. I mean, one of the winners last year was the kite turbine thing that was like, step one, go out on a mountain and erect this this machine that is going to spin in the updraft.
This is K1DBC. The DRC Learning Net will start in 1 minute. All stations please stand by.
In wind generators and physically massive things. I mean, one of the winners last year was the kite turbine thing that was like, step one, go out on a mountain and erect this this machine that is going to spin in the updraft. So it's cool just to see like the physical scale of some of these things. We tend to have little handheld desktop gadgets on Hackaday, as sort of our normal day to day. So it is interesting to see these, almost municipal scale projects coming through.
If you've got a green hack, head on over to Hackaday.io and get yourself a page and get started documenting it. Contest runs until the 4th of July.
This is a journey into sound.
What's that sound?
What's that sound?
All right, this is Daron K1DBC. Check that out, Hackaday podcast at hackaday.com, and you'll see the bit segment there that I stole at some point. What's that sound? So we may play that after the net here. So this is Daron K1DBC. Let's get things started here. Hello and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Net for June 7th. Somehow we're halfway through the year. It is a great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics in general, and thankfully we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. This is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie K1 DBC. My name is Daron, Delta Oscar Romeo Oscar November. I am this evening's net control. We always encourage you, though, if you're ever interested in running the net, it's a fairly straightforward process, and it just takes some getting used to, and you'll feel fairly comfortable once you dig into it a little bit. So feel free to reach out if you ever are interested in taking net control, because we are more than happy to share the load here. So let's see. Last week we spoke about, let's see, drop once more here. We briefly talked about just kind of garnering more interest to the hobby. We're talking about some questions about antennas, some updates of CW learning, and an interesting CB antenna we were talking about. And then to wrap up the net, we helped out someone, FPI Ron, getting the new s.t.e.m 200D radio working. So pretty interesting net last week. So we'd love to have, again, your comments, questions, check-ins, anything you'd like to discuss. We meet every Wednesday except the third Wednesday of the month at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time on 145.490 and 448.625. You can contact us, email elmer@w0tx.org, and most social media at Denver Radio Club. So youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. You can find us on there, streaming and archiving our nets and meetings on there. So if you'd like to see behind the scenes of the net or have additional visual context, that is an additional way to check into the net. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? Before we get to the check-in process, w0tx.org/check-in. It'll take you directly to a spreadsheet if you'd like to follow along with the check-ins, see people's call signs, names, some information about that, and some information about past nets. w0tx.org/check-in. You can follow along if you'd like with that. That said, though, let's see, all check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. Very quickly here, this net does require a 100 hertz PL tone, so please keep that in mind, as well as there's around a 3-minute timeout, so keep that in mind as well. So 100 hertz PL tone is required and around 3-minute timeout. So check-ins will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. The suffix is the first letter after the number in the call sign. If you can, please try to use IT phonetics for the call sign and indicate if you have any traffic or questions as you check in. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, Cannon Lakewood.
W0TX repeater.
This is K1DBC Net Control. That time I'd like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, Ken. Thank you so much for checking in. Once more, if your call suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, and you'd like to check into the net, please do so with your call sign, your name, and just let us know if any traffic or questions. Please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, don't hesitate to check in online if you want to. Not a problem at all, however you'd like to check in. And we do know that this is a nice time of year. People are trying to get outdoors, so may not be around, but that is not a problem. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. We'll open it up. Alpha through Zulu. We'll open up the whole alphabet, A through Z, Alpha through Zulu. If you'd like to check in just for the counter, if you have any traffic or questions, let us know your name, call sign, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
Kilo Echo Zero, Sierra Uniform Mike. Jonathan Lakewood, good to hear you, drone. We've gone for a couple of weeks on vacation, and you're competing with the Denver Nuggets this evening also. But, good evening.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood. Good evening.
Alpha Echo Zero, Sierra Foxtrot, Steve in Denver. Nothing but the usual traffic this time.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Net Control, I'd like to welcome the followers of following check-ins. KE0SUM Jonathan, N0TRP Jim, and AE0SF Steve. Thank you all so much for checking in. Yeah, and I forgot, we are competing here at a national level, so that's awesome to hear. Hopefully we do well, and it's just not a huge interest of mine, but I completely blocked that out completely. So yeah, no problem at all. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. I mean, sports broadcasting is huge and amazing. There's an amount of technology in there. It is insane and nuts that you could... I'm sure there's a documentary out there, so I'm sure there's some technical interest that I might have or others might have as well. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, Alpha through Zulu, A through Z. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Learning Net, just for the counter, if you have any traffic or questions or any updates on any projects or anything else you'd like to bring up, A through Z, please check in now with your call sign, your name, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now. All right, this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. Once more, if you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, it's about a 60-minute conversation about ham radio and all the tendrils and everything that that this hobby covers. So there's a lot to talk about. A lot of maybe I left out from last week. We maybe talked about some testing stuff. So again, real quick here to cover some of the recent news from certain nets. Let's see, last Learning Net we were talking about just garnering more general interest into the club, into the hobby. As we know, this hobby really touches a lot of things, and it's how do we get more people, young, old, however it may be, interested into what we're doing here. Some CW updates, some radio issues. Let's see, we were talking about training previously using hamstudy.org for training. Some other recent stuff here, club events that I think we just had the Siren test today up at Lakewood, so I don't know if anybody attended that, but we might have some update on that. So yeah, plenty of information over on our website and just in general online. So very quick recap of things we've spoken about here recently. Once more, at the moment, if you'd like to check in, all call signs, all call suffixes, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. All right, if anybody is out there listening or watching on YouTube, don't hesitate to jump in the chat, or if you ever want to jump in over the air, don't hesitate to do so. We're always happy to take any check-ins, any comments, questions, things like that. But this may be a shorter net, but I'm sure I can bring up a few things. But anyone on here so far that's checked in, if you have anything you'd like to bring up to the group, otherwise I can maybe try to find a couple things here.
SUM question.
Yeah, Jonathan, KE0SUM, go right ahead.
drone. I know Denver Radio Club had another meeting in the park on Saturday, which I work Saturdays, can't attend, but a lot of people talk about that. I was curious how that was going. I think the rain made maybe a yes on washout, but I was just curious. That seems like a really good way to promote the club and get people interested. KE0SUM, back to that.
KE0SUM. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend, but yeah, it sounds like it's a pretty popular event. So I'm not too sure if anybody else here listening in or can provide some feedback on the most recent one. I think it took place on June 3rd, this past Saturday. So if anybody has any information on that, we'd love to hear some more. It looks like the event was picnic in the park, and yeah, unfortunately the rain didn't do too well. It's good to have the moisture, but not for an outdoor event like that. HT programming, people were bringing up their HTs, it sounded like, and then they brought in an Aeroflex radio test equipment to tune people's equipment. I'll have to see what that is, but yeah, I unfortunately wasn't able to attend. But if anybody's listening that was able to attend or any can provide any further update, let us know. AE0SF. Steve, go right ahead.
Yes, I went to the DRC Saturday this time. There weren't as many people there as there were the first time, but there were quite a few. I guess maybe about 30 or so. And we kind of got rained out towards the end as we packed up and everyone left. A few of us were just standing around talking. Let up for a little bit after that. But Mark was doing programming of the radio with his computer. He had that all set up. And they had some testing also. There was a piece of test equipment with a large screen on it. I don't know what the thing's called, but he was hooking up radios to it and sending signals back and forth and seeing what the power levels were, all that sort of thing. So watched that a little bit. Kind of an interesting day. AE0SF back to the net.
All right, sounds good. AE0SF, Steve. Yeah, good to hear there was still a good turnout there, despite the weather, and some people got their radios programmed and can hopefully maybe get on the air and or maybe hopefully listening now or to our other nets. So yeah, it looked. I don't know the exact model number, but the Aeroflex, I'm sure it was maybe a signal generator analyzer or something like that. So. Spectrum analyzer, who knows? So VNA, lots of equipment here, it looks like. So this is a Daron K1 DBC net control. Very cool. I appreciate the update on that. Yeah. Always don't hesitate to ever to attend these. Again, the next one is July 15th. So about a month from now. Very similar, we'll have our upcoming field day, will be our next kind of major event. So again, w0tx.org/field day, and on our webpage in general, there's plenty of information. So June 24th, 26th, we are getting our website. There's a lot of stuff going on with our website at the moment, but things will be updated very, very soon here on the field day page here. So check that out, and we'd love to see you out there. And awesome to hear about the DRC Saturday event. Yeah, too bad it's held on that day and not everyone can maybe attend that. We'll have to try to keep that in mind for future events like this. So, glad to hear it's being talked about and people are attending it. It's a little bit out of the city for some people, but for some people it's convenient. But it's a great event. So this is Daron K1 DBC Net Control. I'll throw it out to anyone, Jonathan or anyone else on that or anything else. Please call now.
This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. Question.
Yeah, Ken, Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I listened to that Siren test today in inspection, and I thought it was rather interesting. What I was kind of curious about is when they do find things wrong with it, Who does the maintenance or the update on it? Does the city do it? Does the state do it? Does the county do it? Do you have any idea?
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. That's a really good question. I haven't actually really thought about that. So there's a video online that we have from our Wheat Ridge Siren test and some of the kind of the script that goes along with it. I think basically people are checking to make sure it has power, that the either from AC or solar power, and that the thing's rotating. So I don't know actually who has ownership of that. They may contract that out, but we work directly with the cities to support these tests, and I believe we report directly back to the city. So I'm sure there might be some contractors probably that take care of the power, maybe Excel for power and things like that. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm sure we're reporting it back directly to the city themselves, though, as far as I can tell. So I know Jim KZOR TOR has run those in the past, and I think he had to maybe step down a little bit. And I'm forgetting his name now. Brennan. I can't remember his call sign at the moment, but I think he maybe ran it, but he might be able to provide some update on that. But yeah, they just run a test 30 seconds or so at each of these ones. So yeah, I don't know. If anybody else has any other follow-up on that, who maybe owns these or supports these, go right ahead.
S.t.e.m. Well, I was up and listening to this repeater when they were doing it here in Lakewood. And it's very interesting because I did not hear the voice, which is kind of a block away from me, come over. I'm not sure why that was, but yeah, the Denver Radio Club was using this, and they checked and they told the rotation and how often it went off. It was interesting listening. E0 S.t.e.m. back to that.
K0 S.t.e.m. Jonathan, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Verbiage might be a little bit different on the script that I'm looking at here, but for one of these cities at least, yeah, as you mentioned as well, what they do is they play a very loud audible tone, as well as there should be a voice that comes over and says, this is a test, something like that, and it in reality it would say whatever emergency situation there is. So yeah, making sure that if the device rotates, make sure it rotates. If it does the audio alerts, things like that. So yeah, I did leave that out there. But yeah, I forgot about that. So yeah, I don't know. Alpha Bravo, Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. If you have any other follow up on that, let us know.
Yeah, I did hear the vocal, and I did hear the tone, both of them. I live over here close to Alameda High School, but I did hear both of them here, so that's kind of interesting that the other gentleman did not hear the voice in it. But anyway, thanks, and I was just curious. This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, and back to net.
Thought, S.t.e.m.
All right, sounds good, Alpha Bravo. Yeah, not a problem. And it was Brendan Pate, AD0UZ. Yeah, Jonathan, KE0SUM. Jonathan, go right ahead.
No, we're in the same neighborhood. I'm at Jewel and Wadsworth, and I'm surprised I didn't hear them also. But in the past, a few years ago, it looked threatening. It looked bad, and I stepped out on my second-story deck, and the one next to me is like maybe a block away over in there's a shopping center with a Walmart, with a Walgreens and a fitness center and things, but man, it is so loud, it is so clear. I was super impressed with the system. Come back to it.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't know the technical reason why some of them won't broadcast the voice. It's I'd have to understand a little bit more. I think it's all kind of very similar stuff we're doing here. It's all kind of radio and DTMF controlled, I think, maybe, and maybe some of these aren't getting the right signals to transmit certain things. Maybe there's audio streams coming from different sources or whatever it may be. And it's interesting how loud it is and how kind of directional it is as well. At least as well as some of the moving ones. It's surprising that you're several blocks away, but maybe can't really hear it. They, I guess, take thankfully sound noise pollution maybe into consideration with some of these, but we don't hear these too much. These were siren tests for emergency weather. You don't really hear them too much anymore, surprisingly, but the emergency alert system, EAS, I mean, the federal government has a lot of ways to get a hold of people if needed for emergency purposes, so whether it's weather or whatever it may be. So it's awesome to hear that we can help them with this, and if anybody else is working, lives in another city and maybe has an interest, if you want to contact your city council or contact your office of emergency management, I mean, we might be willing to help with other counties as well, so in other cities. This is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. Awesome to hear the update on that. And great to hear we're providing volunteer hours for your city officials here. So this is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else? Please call now. AE0SF, Steve, go right ahead. The net is yours.
Yeah, I participated in that today too. It was my first event of the sort. It was kind of interesting. I was sitting in the radio room with Jerry and writing down all the information that was sent back. It seemed like there were quite a few sirens that didn't rotate it all the way around. They just did 3 quadrants. And from what Jerry said, that was kind of unusual. That hadn't really happened before. So not sure what that was all about, but it was kind of an interesting experience anyway. There were more people there than I thought there would be. I didn't really know what to expect. AE0SF back to the net.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Thanks for your feedback on that event. Glad to hear you were able to participate and help with that. And there's our cities are fairly large, so it's interesting to see and hear everyone check in and hear all the reports and whatnot. And it's just amazing how much work and how much area we can cover with just the few amount of people we have. This is a awesome service that we can provide to the cities and. Really, really cool stuff. So some of them, it sounds like maybe these are probably some of this technology and hardware. I mean, dates back 20, 30 years, maybe how long older, I'm not too sure. So some of them are static, some of them don't rotate all the way correctly, and it's whomever it is that has to fix that stuff hopefully comes out and does that. So this is maybe older, aging equipment, but it's hopefully a part of the same systems for emergency alerts. And it sounds like cities are still trying to maintain this equipment as much as they can. So appreciate the follow up on there. And anyone else that attended that event or anyone else, any other comments, questions, check-ins, please call now.
Well, Daron, I will question your premise about the age of the gear, only because I've been here since the 80s, and this is an upgrade. We didn't have this back in the day, and I think this is more current. Plus, the voices are so loud and the tone's so good. I think this has to be pretty up-to-date gear. That's just my guess. KE0SUN.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. Fair enough. It's hopefully it seems like a very simple system. It's a siren and a radio communications link and power. So hopefully it's fairly easy for the city to maintain or whoever to maintain, and it's not super complex equipment. But some of the failures we see are surprising. Sometimes like we go throughout and some don't do the voice, some don't rotate. So hopefully it's not too really out of date. But I guess just I guess the system in general, the Siren system in general. I don't know how long actually that dates back to, really, but yeah, hopefully the equipment itself is not really too out of date. So, and it sounds like cities. I know a lot of the cities we support, other cities are still doing these tests and still using this equipment for something. So, it's they're still trying to rely on it. So yeah, hopefully it's all in good working order and condition here. So yeah, no, I appreciate the follow up on that.
I've got another question for the group drone. Since I'm thinking they're current, and a lot of these, as the guys were checking back in, they were solar. So they had solar as a backup. I was wondering, as ham radio operators, do they just trickle them with a radio signal? Is that how that works? I don't know. But I thought it was an interesting question. KE0SUM. Dario and Denver just checking in, saying hello.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, I'll come back to you here, Jonathan, in just a minute. Yeah, it's a good place to, we'll take a real quick break here for check-ins. We had KF0GAG, Dario. Thank you so much for checking in there. If you're just tuning in, this is the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. As you can hear, we're talking about ham-related activities and things that we support there. So this is the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. Great place to learn about ham radio STEM topics, and we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. My name is Daron. Call sign is K1DBC. I'm the Net Control. We'll take all call suffixes, all call signs. If you'd like to check into the net, just for the counter. If you have any traffic or questions, let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
KB6CC, Scott. No traffic, just been listening.
Alpha Fox 0 Echo, Alex Bromfield.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. We'd like to welcome knowledgeable following check-ins: KB6CC Scott and AF0E Alex. Thank you all so much for checking in. Once more, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. This is about a 60-minute long net. There's about 30 minutes left here. No hard stop, but if you'd like to check in, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Please call now.
This is Kilo India 4 Whiskey India November, Daniel in Lakewood.
Whiskey 0 Tango Romeo Mike, Tom in Aurora.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. That time we had KI4WIN Daniel and W0TRM Mike. Thank you all so much for checking in. Once more, if you'd like to follow along with the check-in process, if you've seen something like NetLogger or Club Logger, it's like that, but you don't have to download anything. It's online, w0tx.org/check-in. You can follow along with the check-in process, people's names, call signs. If you have any questions, I'll try to keep some record of what we spoke about as well. So if there's anyone else who'd like to check in at the moment, or if there's any call corrections, please call now.
Whiskey 0 Tango Romeo Mike, that's Tom in Aurora.
All right, not sure where I got Mike from there, but TRM, Tom, I got you checked in. Appreciate the correction there. I figured I thought I had something wrong there. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. One more call at the moment. We have another 30 minutes. We'll throw it over to s.t.e.m Jonathan here in just a moment to continue talking about... I've completely forgotten, maybe our Siren test or something like that. But this is K1 DBC Net Control. If you'd like to check in just for the counter, if you have any traffic or questions, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. You can see some additional a visual context for an audio medium that is radio. youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. We stream and archive our nets and meetings on there too. So with that, we'll throw it back over to Jonathan, KE0SUM. I think we were talking about the Siren tests and the equipment there, some things like that. But if you want to follow back up or continue on, go right ahead.
I think my question's kind of got answered. The other ham up here close to me at Alameda, maybe mine didn't rotate because it's so hard to miss that. And I was listening to guys talk about it here on the radio, so that was odd. But it's always interesting. Oh, I guess we talked about who owns and does these things. I guess I also asked if they could be, if they were remotely controlled in case of a disaster, if you turn them on the radio signals, if the power was to be completely down. KE0SUM.
This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. The voice this sounded like over there by Alameda High School, like it was coming from that direction, and I live pretty close over there where you're talking about it, at the Walgreens over there. So, but I heard it real well. Back to net.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, it's interesting how, again, the directionality of it and surprising maybe what you could hear, what you can't hear. But yeah, that's interesting. Maybe something didn't rotate and it was just going in one direction or whatnot. But yeah, it's glad to hear. Hopefully they've done an analysis of how audio is propagates, if you will, and can make sure there's coverage to every citizen that is within that city and area. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, another good question there about maybe if it's solar power only, how is it command and controlled? I know definitely through DTMF. I mean, you can send commands through DTMF. I don't know really the exact things. I know there's something called two-tone frequency, which is used, I think, in fire and EMS for certain alerting. So that might be a part of it as well. If it's and there's probably a battery. Hopefully, there's some things. Yeah, I don't know though how they would trickle feed audio or power to it, because I'm sure those are very powerful sirens, and they take a good amount of power, but they don't have to do it too often. So yeah, good question on that. Yeah, I don't know. I'll throw it back to you, Jonathan, or anyone else on that. Go right ahead. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'll try to find something real quick here on that. But anyone else on the siren tests or, power or maintenance or radio functionality? I know from a, kind of a security perspective, I think it is DTMF controlled. And I think in Texas, there were some stories of people, citizens nefariously taking over some of the sirens. So, and I think we had one of those cases here as well, too, in recent years. So, yeah, I'll throw it back out. Anyone else? Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else? Please call now. Let's see. This is Daron, K1DBC Net Control. I'm just reading a fact sheet here from the city of Denver. Some pretty good frequently asked questions. Let me see here. They used to, Let's skip to the next one. Should they be able to hear inside their home or building office? Generally, no. Sirens are loud 130 dB at 100 feet, but are not designed to be heard indoors. If you're within a couple blocks of the siren, you may hear them indoors, but their intent is to be heard by people outside. They heard them going off, but there's no tornado warning. Several possibilities of Siren Test Day. City, County, Denver have their own. Let's see. And then tests from the other cities. Commerce City, Lakewood, Inglewood, extreme things like that. Let me see. They can barely hear them. What can be done about this? Call the Office of Emergency Management and documenting time of tests, things like that. How does the city decide where to put them? Siren locations were designed based on several factors. The most important is the ability to provide optimal uniform coverage throughout the entire city. Other factors include southern exposure for solar panels, interestingly enough there, elevation, proximity, and height of adjacent structures, underground and overhead utilities conforming to statutes and ordinances, accessibilities. Most are placed in the public right away. Let's see. Let me see. Yeah, there was some basic information there. And then most importantly, let me drop here. Most importantly, should there be an actual emergency, according to their documentation here, when is it all clear or safe to come out of sheltering? The National Weather Service does not issue an all clear after a tornado warning. Rather, each of their warnings carries a start and end time. So unless the warning is extended, reissued, or canceled, it will just expire when the end time comes. Therefore, it is very important to monitor local media or the National Weather Service to know if anything has changed. We encourage schools, office buildings, other large facilities to have their facility managers or office personnel provide reliable information, alert facility attendants when the warning has passed. So some very basic information there. Yeah, this is K1 DBC Net Control. It's just some basic information about siren testing and the importance of making sure they're working and things like that. So this is Daron, K1 DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Any other comments, questions, check-ins on this topic or anything else? Please call now.
S.t.e.m. comment.
Yeah, Jonathan, S.t.e.m. Go right ahead.
Roll back down to the map of Denver. You see all the different sirens. So, obviously, if there's severe weather that doesn't affect the whole city and county of Denver, they only set off certain ones of them. That was, I think, kind of interesting. And who decides that? See, it seems like there's one other thing, but yeah, it's like they wouldn't. Can't think they'd set them all off if it's only in South Denver.
Good question there, Jonathan. Yeah, looking at this map here of city of Denver, it extends down to Balmore towards Littleton and up through DIA, kind of a little bit of an awkward shape there. But I'm sure hopefully at this point there's some intelligence into how they set those off, and it's not literally all of them. Yeah, we're looking at a map here of 20, maybe 30 entirely covering that entire area. But they're very condensed here within the city of Denver. So I'm hoping there's a lot of automation into that and make sure that they alert only the people who need alerting in terms of weather events or certain events. So yeah, that's a good question.
Well, I'll throw it out for everybody's consideration. From what I've been studying AI, artificial intelligence, for a while, and AI would come into play as to where these would happen. I haven't decided what to think about AI at the moment, but I'm always learning. KE0SUM.
Yeah, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'm sure they've come up with some sort of algorithm that takes into consideration, again, I think all of those little factors they mentioned there. Elevation, making sure people can hear it in specific places, things like that. But yeah, hopefully they've come up with a good solution, and thankfully our city isn't geographically changing too much in elevation and whatnot. So hopefully they've been able to have these in place, not have to move them too much. But yeah, good question. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, National Weather Service, outdoor warning sirens, tornado sirens as they've been known in the past. We don't have too many tornadoes really anymore, at least in the Denver metro area. There's been some downspouts out in certain areas, but we're moving away from, I guess, tornado sirens to it's just another part of the emergency alert system, really, just to notify citizens of emergencies. So this is K1DBC Net Control. We have these and support them. We don't seem to hear them too much, though. But this is K1DBC Net Control, again, at least where I'm at. So anyone else, any other comments, questions, check-ins, please call in.
One more comment, drone, S.t.e.m.
S.t.e.m, Jonathan, go right ahead.
Well, you see, you're a youngin'. I've been here for a while. I am not a native, but this, the Colorado State Capitol has a marker on a step up on the west side of the Capitol, marking 5,280 feet. Well, if you go today, you have to go up 2 more steps. They had to take it off and move it because the state has risen a little bit since the time I've been here. KE0SUM, back to net.
S.t.e.m, Jonathan. I think I did know that in the past somehow, and I have forgotten that. Yes, the 5280 landmarker has had to move a couple of steps at the city capitol. So you are absolutely correct on that. We are moving in the universe. We're moving. Our continent is moving. Our state is moving. Things are moving. So hopefully that doesn't have too much of a huge effect on some of the stuff here, but you are correct. We are moving slowly, but a little bit of a time. So very, very cool on that, S.t.e.m, Jonathan. All right, I'll throw it out to anyone else. We've been talking about quite a few things here this evening so far. Emergency alert systems, the siren tests. We talked about our DRC Saturday event that took place this past Saturday. Even though there was, despite the weather, we had a pretty good turnout. What you're seeing is not photos from this month here, but good to hear. We had some pretty good attendance on that. And then, most recently today we had our siren test. So plenty of information we can talk about, bring up. Anyone else? Any other comments, questions, check-ins? We have another 20 minutes. Please call now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Papa India. Ron in Lakewood with a little bit of traffic.
W0TX repeater.
KF0 FBI, Ron got you checked in there with some traffic. Once more, we'll just take check-ins. Anyone else who'd like to check in just for the count, or if you have any traffic or questions, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Nothing heard. We'll throw it over to Ron, KF0 FPI, with the bit of traffic there you got there. And that is yours.
Yes, good evening, Jerome and the net. I got a siren site out there by Bannermere Speedway, and unfortunately, both repeaters I tried to hit, you can't hit from that area. I worked with Kevin on that, and I had to do my report via cell phone, which kind of bummed me out, but it was interesting. I'm planning on doing it from here on out. And I wanted to give a shout out to KE0 Alpha Bravo. He's a stone throw away neighbor that I've been wanting to meet. I just haven't of late. I did not catch his name. Back to you, Jerome.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. That is Ken. Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo Ken in Lakewood. So yeah, feel free to make contact there. And yeah, too bad to hear about the Bandemere Speedway location, at least the Morrison area, not able to reach. Even though you're kind of, it seemed like you'd be able to hit the repeaters from there. That's too bad. That's unfortunate. Yeah, and but yeah, glad to hear you're able to support that as well. And yeah, if you want to follow up with Ken or anything else, go right ahead.
This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. You know, that site up there, I think when I drive, what is that, 470, or is that rusty old pole up there? Is that what that is? Is that a Siren up there?
No, this is a wooden pole, right? It's due north of a pretty big water tank, and the pole is leaning, which would drive me nuts if that was mine, but it seemed to be working good, and it was in great condition. The houses that are in that neighborhood are way above my pay grade, but it was a fun experience. I worked with Kevin, our vice president, and me and him switched off cell phone information. Back to the net, KFC Repi.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're talking about. Well, someday, when we don't, both of us don't have something to do, maybe we can meet up and have a cup of coffee sometime. How's that sound? Back to net.
I would love to do that, Ken. I am 2 blocks to your west. When I was younger, I could probably do a stone's throw. I've driven by your house. I see a couple verticals, it looks like, in the backyard. And I've been in this neighborhood on Carr Street for 33 years. Me and my wife have. It's a great neighborhood. I love this neighborhood. And, well, back to net. KFC Repi.
Okay, you live over on Carr. Very, very good. Yeah, you're pretty close. And, well, my parents, they moved into this house in 1964. And I was raised in this area, and then I moved off to California to go work in the electrical field out there. And then I come back, and both of my folks passed away, so I inherited this wonderful little house, and I couldn't be happier. I just retired last year, and I'm a very happy camper, let's say. So yes, we will have to get together someday. And if you drive by and you see the garage door open or the front door open, don't bother. Just come on up and knock on the door and introduce yourself. I'd have no problem with that, Ron. Back to net. This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. Ken.
Very cool, Ken. I've only been in this, I don't know, about 2 years. I got my general a couple months ago, and I'm liking the whole facet. I haven't got into DX too much, but I have the stuff to do it. Been having a lot of fun with digital. I've always been kind of shy to just stop by somebody's house. They're going to say, well, what do you want? Well, I'm a good guy. I live in this hood, have for many years, and I've been retired for 4 years. Back to net.
Okay, Ron. Well, you've got an invite, so take care, and we'll probably meet up someday. Back to net.
s.t.e.m. comment.
Oh, it was on mute there. All right, awesome to hear that. Yeah, you know what? As you drive around the city, you might see ham radio antennas, things like that. Look people up on the ULS website, and you can see ham radio operators around you. It's really cool. There's plenty of us around here, and it's a really blessed city to be in, and it's amazing the amount of hams around here. So yeah, it's just again, stone's throw away. You just got to look for an antenna, and you might find a ham. So really cool stuff there. So yeah, I'll throw it over to Jonathan, s.t.e.m. with the follow-up. Go right ahead.
The discussion's interesting because, full disclosure, I am an employee of Ham Radio Outlet, and the manager Mike and I talk, and his wife Laura, and he enjoys having hams come down and just rag chew at Ham Radio Outlet. We're very specialized, and we all understand that. I've gotten a great conversation, so I'd say to you guys, okay, if you're uncomfortable going in, well, let's have a cup of coffee and go over to HRO. Just a thought. KE0, S.t.e.m. Back to net.
KF0 FPI comment.
s.t.e.m. Jonathan, yeah, good follow-up there, and maybe you guys should start hosting some events, things like that, garnering some more interest into that. It's awesome to have that sort of establishment here. There's very few of those, and it's very, very specialized. So yeah, we're always happy to do that. So yeah, if anybody ever feels comfortable, stop in there or whatever the case may be. So I think there was a FPI Ron that had a follow-up. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jonathan, that's a grand idea, but I'm going to wait till they got Ida for Evans there done. The construction there, last time I was there to take my general test in April, it wasn't too bad because it was the weekend. But man, the week's kind of brutal there. So when that's done, that's a viable option, and it's actually a grand idea, Jonathan. KFC RepPI back to net.
W0TX repeater.
Yes, the ongoing construction on Isla is a problem. So, yeah, think about it. They are making progress, but I have no idea when that's done. But, yeah, getting to the store is definitely a destination. S.t.e.m. back to net.
All right, s.t.e.m. Jonathan, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, the city skyline and landscape changes. I do remember I had a friend that used to live kind of in a kind of like a farm kind of rural thing, kind of just across the street from that area 10, 15 years ago, and everything's changing around there now. And yeah, construction as ever, it seems like. Seems to be always a thing here in the city, but yeah, it's too bad. But yeah, one day, hopefully that might calm down in that area. So, yeah, awesome to hear. Great questions. I'd love to take. I think, like a tour of ham radio outlet in terms of the antennas. I think that's not a lot of people have really seen that part of the area, so maybe some guided tours of that would be kind of cool, things like that. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, there's hams all around us. Don't hesitate to reach out. We're somewhat of a shy crowd a little bit, but we do not bite, and we're all here to teach and help and grow together. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'll throw it out. We have another 10-15 minutes or so here to the end of the net. Anything else? Any other comments, questions, check-ins? Please call down.
TRP.
N0 TRP, Jim, go right ahead.
At this N0 TRP, I've been listening here, and that coffee idea kind of caught my attention here. I'm right in the same area as a lot of you other guys here, right around Jewel and Garrison, and I don't know if there's a place locally that everybody'd be comfortable going to. I'd be up for a cup of coffee now and then too, but I'm not sure where'd be the best place, but that would alleviate the traffic issue for those that live right around this area. N0 TRP back to net.
All right, great follow-up, N0TRP. Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like kind of a coffee hangout together in the local area would alleviate at least the traffic issues and the travel, and you can still hang out and discuss ham radio and everything involved. So, yeah, if you guys want to discuss things afterwards or whatever it may be, follow up, and we all have some time on our hands here or there. So, yeah, it sounds good. This is how we get things rolling. We get the ball rolling and just move along with it, and you'll find out that. You'll have been meeting for 6-7 months, and our things are changed. Things are better. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Yeah. Don't always hesitate to look up on the ULS website, the FCC ULS website. You should be able to look up, I think, by like a zip code for active ham radios around your area. I believe. And it's just a good way to see the active people around you. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Yeah, check that out. But yeah, I'll throw it out to the group. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, please call now.
FBI.
KF0, FPI, Ron, go right ahead.
Yes, my apologies, N0TRP. He's really close. And so is s.t.e.m. I mean, we're in a very north to south, very short area. Yeah, I would be good for coffee, even Mexican food, or a butter burger at Culver's. I don't know if you guys had one of those yet, but they're pretty cool. That new Culver's they opened up. This is KFC or FBI, back to net.
Comment, s.t.e.m.
Awesome to hear that. Yeah, whatever the case may be, there's plenty of food or drink to be had, and a lot of cool stuff out there. s.t.e.m. Let's see, we had someone in the chat here. I think it was KI4WIN maybe put in the chat haminfo.tetranz.com /map, and it looks like we can put in a zip code, and it might give some good geospatial information about people around you. Yeah, it gives you just a map, so that's awesome. haminfo.tetranz.com. Really cool. Really appreciate who threw that in there. So Jonathan, s.t.e.m, go right ahead.
I was just going to say, in KF0 FPI, it's like, we start with coffee, but yeah, Butterburger's like practically across the street from me. So, yeah, we'll have to chat about this. It'd be fun to get together, and not necessarily for coffee, because, there's Butterburgers. KU0-SUM, back to that.
All right, sounds good. And credit where credit is due. That was actually K0RAP, Robert Pickett, our current VE lead. So really appreciate that in the YouTube chat there, Robert. Again, haminfo.tetranz.com. Pretty cool way to basically put in your zip code, and you can see the ham radio operators around you. So awesome to see that. Yeah, and get together, hang out. Let me see. I'll put in the zip code of what you guys were talking about here, 80232, and yeah, there's a lot of hams in that area. So really, really cool stuff there. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Anyone else on that? Look things up. Find antennas in your area. Find antennas hanging off roofs, and if you can, try to get involved and meet more people. And I mean, that's fellowship is a part of this hobby as well. So this is K1DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Any comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now.
RAP, late check-in.
K0RAP. Sorry about that. Yeah, I should have gotten you checked in there. I got you checked in now. Really appreciate that info there, and yeah, appreciate that. So this is K1DBC Net Control. We have another few minutes. Any other comments, questions for the net? Let us know. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. We post all of our nets and meetings on there and things like that. There's a whole wealth of questions out there. If you're ever interested to help moderate our YouTube and answer some of these questions, please don't hesitate to jump in and do so. A lot of these are on our meetings. Let's see, the recent ones here are on a video from John Portune, W6MBC, quite popular of our videos here. Let's see. Somebody's asking about electrical effect of different color PVC pipes. Let's see. There, good information. People are just thanking people. Let's see. If you ever want to check out our youtube.com/Denver Radio Club, there's a whole wealth of information on there, and always an opportunity. If you ever want to help people with their questions and comments, that's an opportunity to do so as well. And I think one that's not really. We don't go back too much at this point to follow up with some of these things. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, we talked about our DRC Saturday event. We talked about the Siren test. A lot of information on plenty of stuff here. Didn't write any of it down, but I'll come back and try to fill in the gaps there for future meetings. But let's see. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Push the wrong button there. Any other comments, questions? This will be the second to last call for this evening's net. Please call now.
W0TX repeater.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Everything over on our website, w0tx.org, for more information on our club, presentations, upcoming events, things like that. You can list your items for sale or purchase items if you like. What else here? I'm sure I can bring up some maybe very quick news stories here, but this is K1 DBC Net Control. Yeah, anything else? One more call. Please call now.
A0SF.
Sorry, Steve, I didn't get back to you earlier. Yeah, A0SF, Steve, the net is yours. Go right ahead.
I guess I'll just give a really quick progress report on the Morse code. I'm still plugging along. It's going glacially slow. There's not too much to say, but I'm still working on it. And also I have some pictures from Saturday that give me the information, and I can upload those somewhere. That's pretty much it. AE0SF back to the net.
All right, sounds good there. AE0SF, Steve. Yeah, good to hear on your progress there. Hopefully things are also better on other things, avenues. But yeah, good to hear that, and yeah, glad to hear on the photos. And I keep just forgetting to give that information. I do apologize. So I will try to make sure I do that this evening here as well. So we're all public PR people. We can all be public information officers. If you ever attend any of our events, please don't hesitate to take photos if you like. Post them on our social media. I'm going to try to make a Google Drive link that you can put them into for larger things like that. But please don't ever hesitate to be our own PIO officers. Document things if you like. And yeah, that's awesome. So really appreciate that. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. That's pretty much it that I have. If you were listening to the beginning of the net, we were listening to the Hackaday podcast, and we were just starting to listen to the bit that I stole. What's that sound? Haven't played that here in a while, but I'll play a few more minutes of that after the net here. So if you're on YouTube, you can check that out. What else? Everything on our website, our repeater information on there, everything. So let's see. Everything on our social media, a lot of social media at Denver Radio Club. Appreciate everyone checking in and doing things online there. It's always awesome to see. Tonight we had a total of 12 check-ins. Really appreciate that. Hopefully the Nuggets are doing well, and And if you missed this, hopefully that's, I'm sure, a better broadcast event as well. But as I should have gotten into a little bit more, and I didn't investigate enough, was, I guess, the professional broadcast media and everything that goes into sports broadcast. I'm sure there's a lot of awesome technology and stuff into that as well. So maybe we bring that up in a future event. So with that, this is K1DBC Net Control. Let's see. Appreciate everyone checking in here online over the air. Thanks to Denver Radio Club for allowing us to use their repeaters. Join us on the third Wednesday of the month, 6 p.m. for an Elmers session prior to the regularly scheduled Denver Radio Club at 7 p.m. That meeting is going to be the 21st. I think it's still to be determined what that topic is. W0tx.org for information on that. So with that, thank you for that. Wonderful. Luckily, it comes back very quickly, but that is really annoying. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, I timed out the repeater this evening. I apologize about that. We appreciate the Denver Radio Club. 6 p.m. for an Elmer session, third Wednesday of the month, 7 p.m. for the meeting. With that, check things out. There's a few more minutes of something I'll play online here on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. Again, w0tx.org/check-in. You can find a spreadsheet of people who have checked into this net as past net and past nets as well. And get in contact with each other. And it's really awesome to see everything here. So with that, this is K1DBC Net Control 7-3, and I'm clear.
KF0, Golf Alpha Golf, KE0SUM.
Sorry, give me just a minute here, find the timestamp here, and we'll finish out the evening. So appreciate everyone here. Hackaday.com. Check out their podcast. Let's see here if I can jump to that here real quick.
Sorry, that's what they call the you may scale too, right? It's interesting to see.
Super tough one.
Like
Arcade, but it's
or something.
Apologies, bro. If you've got a green hack, head on over to Hackaday.io and get yourself a page and get started documenting it. Contest runs until the 4th of July.
This is a journey into sound.
What's that sound? What's that sound?
All right, well, that brings us to What's That Sound? This week's a super tough one, Tom. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Apologizing already.
Every time. Did you already play it last week, or is it?
Nope. This is a brand new, fresh one.
All right, so at least that nobody has a head start on me. All right. I mean, it sounds like Arctic wind or something.
Oh, that's not bad.
Like, one of those Arctic research stations when they put the microphone outside. But that's too easy, right? Can't be. Is it of Earth?
It is of Earth, and it's in a very cold place.
Mm-hmm. But not the wind.
But not the wind.
But not the wind. Not the wind. Very cool. This is like a riddle.
If it's going to be a riddle, it's in a very cold place, but it's very hot.
It's a very cold place, but it's a very hot thing. Oh. Well, I don't like that anymore. But all right, what is it?
Okay, fair enough. It's
Really?
Yeah.
I definitely hear a very low, like, ominous thing to it. Still a very cool noise.
That's kind of why I played it, but I don't expect anyone to get it. So if you know what this one is, head on over to hackaday.com/podcast, fill in our form, give us your handle and your best guess, and next week...
Well, there we go. Have a good evening, everyone. This is Drone K1DBC. I backed out of that by accident, so have a good one.